Good morning, everyone. Today's Thursday, October 6th, 2022. We're here for a work session, and as always, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Ken, can you please say to me?
Oh, certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ken. And we have one quick announcement today. First, this weekend, Sunday, marks the 46th annual Riverhead Country Fair. Join us on Sunday from 10 to 5 for one of the largest festivals in New York State, where visitors come and enjoy the works of our original artists and agriculture, homemaking displays and competitions, authors, entertainers and local merchants, food, amusement rides, and business expositions, and something for everyone. And we have a light agenda today. And we're going to move on to our first discussion item, which is code revision, matters surrounding change to Chapter 301, Planned Industrial Park, also known as PIP. I'll ask Jeff Murphy, our planning administrator, to please introduce the topic to us. And good morning, Jeff, and good morning, Eric.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Does everybody have a copy of it?
Yes.
This went through code committee. As you know, up in the PIP zoning district at EPCAL, we have a number of wholesale and manufacturer facilities building home materials such as Riverhead Building Supply and Leo Stone. One of the things that we have been asked about and considered at code committee is they currently are not allowed to have a showroom or a small retail area to display what they're actually selling. So what this code amendment would actually do is to allow a very, very small floor area be devoted for retail sales,
Okay.
or as just simply a showroom of the merchandise that they're producing. So the code, if amended, right now, retail sales are allowed in that zoning district, but only for products that the employees would be utilizing. So it'd be sales of books, magazines, beverages, pharmaceutical products, that sort of thing, like a small
Okay.
little gift shop, that sort of thing. So, and we haven't really seen any benefit of that. So what this code amendment would do would be to allow no more than 5% of the gross floor area of the building be permitted to have a small retail or showroom area, or not to exceed 1,000 square feet, whichever is less. So if you have a very, very large building, you'd still be limited to 1,000 square feet. So it's a very, very small area, and we think it would yield a lot of benefit for those businesses. The second thing the code amendment would do, which is expand upon the special permit use. Right now, it reads that outdoor sports facilities are a special permit use. We would just want to more clearly define it to be, and not be so limited, so we would include indoor sports and recreation within that definition. So it would be, as a special permit use, it would read outdoor, indoor sports and recreation facilities. So if you want to have indoor laser tag, or if you want to have outdoor paintball shooting or soccer field, that sort of thing, it would be a specially permitted use before you were board. And that's the change.
Jeff, I just have one question. What prompted this? Was this something that was asked for by somebody in particular, or was it just something that had been lagging in the committee for a while?
I've gotten phone calls over the past few years just from businesses saying, are we allowed to do it? And specifically, they're not.
Right.
Whether or not they're doing it, this would allow them to do it.
Okay.
Could somebody such like as Riverhead Building Supply, for example, they're manufacturing, doing something there, but if somebody wanted to just pick up a door at that site as opposed to having to move it to another site, can they go in and in other words, specifically pick up an item there? But
Yes.
it's not,
Yes.
They're not having all their display shelves and everything else, but you have a specially designed window or something like that, it's one less transportation. It's gotta go on a truck coming to Pulaski Street, I'm just using them as an example, if
That'd be another
that's
example.
accurate, right?
Yes.
Jeff,
Well, there's been indoor soccer up there over the years, indoor lacrosse. One of the hangars was set up with a turf field in it and everything, so the need has been there. This is, been going on for quite some time, so I think to limit it to what we've limited to, so it's not a retail area inside
Right.
an industrial park, but it will give a small amount of retail available to the people that want to not only sell wholesale, but they can sell retail also.
and the products will be business related. the products are gonna be business related?
Yes, absolutely.
So
It can only be business related, yes.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
So I think this is a good idea, and I know there's also outdoor sports already happening, and I'm glad that we're addressing that. And I know there's indoor retail happening that's exclusive to the business. What I question a little bit is, the 1,000 square foot seems small, but, you know, I would increase that maybe by 500 square feet when I think about people like Riverhead Building Supply that has an
Big
enormous-
items.
Big items, et cetera. You know, 1,000 square feet's not a lot, but, and also Lido Stone is another one where it's not, it doesn't seem like a lot of square footage, but.
They tend to deal with more bulk items than the smaller
Well,
products.
No, I understand
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying, I'm
I'm just
agreeing with
looking
you.
into the future a little bit of people, you know, that's all.
So if the board wants to increase that by 500 square feet, we can make that change
I
right now.
support it.
Is the board supportive of that?
Just-
Yeah, I would be okay with
I'm
that.
fine
we
with it.
have-
That's still
we have,
relatively small one.
It is.
We have
Yeah.
That's fine.
data on the size of the buildings, like Rita Stone and.
No, we're gonna do that through the secret review.
Okay.
But still limited by 5%, not to exceed 15.
Correct.
Right.
Right. So it sounds like the board's in agreement, so the next steps is, would be a type 1 action pursuant to secret, so we take our hard look. We do the part 1, part 2, I like to have the public hearing, and then before we issue any sort of findings, always like to have public input before making a final decision. And then, so we start the 30-day coordination period and then schedule a public hearing concurrently. This takes about 30 days for each of those, so we'd have all the comments back from involved agencies prior to the public hearing.
Just to make it clear, it's going to exclude any of the economic development area that may be developed in the future.
That is
I
correct.
just want to make that clear.
Yes,
Good,
Okay.
good observation.
that's all I had.
Think so.
Good.
We're in
Okay,
agreement.
absolutely.
Great, thank
Even
you. Jeff.
1,500 feet's less than 40 by 40, it's still small.
Thank you,
Like that.
Jeff. Eric?
Okay. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Well, we're not going anywhere, I think we're on number item
Oh,
2.
you're staying behind? Well, Eric, if you need to leave, or you want to stay
We're here
there?
to talk about the comp plan
Okay,
next.
good,
so-
perfect, okay.
Okay,
So next discussion, well, is a continuation of a prior discussion surrounding selecting a company to complete the update to our comprehensive plan. And because I know we are all anxious to move forward in this process without delay, I'll ask Jeff once again, Jeff, you're up.
Yep. We got the 2 proposals, 3 proposals, we narrowed it down to BFJ and H2M. We had them come in last week to give final presentations. I think both companies are excellent. They both submitted very qualified proposals,
Yes,
well-qualified staff. I think both of them could do an excellent job. The hard decision is as to which one. I do have my recommendations, my thoughts. My big concern obviously is cost, is $300,000 versus over $800,000. That's obviously a big one. But more importantly than that is the qualifications of BFJ. They made one comment that, two comments last week that really stood out to me. One had to do with the discussion of our downtown, and Sarah Yakala, I'm going to get her name wrong, I apologize, told us their experience up in New Rochelle. I thought that was an outstanding comment, and with the work they did up there was very innovative and could really help out with our downtown efforts. They also have worked with DRIs, which will help Don Thomas quite a bit. From a secret standpoint, I was very, very excited to hear about the concurrent secret review process, concurrent with the review of the entire comp plan.
To me, that gave them the edge,
Yeah,
because we
me
really
too.
need to get this
Absolutely.
going and get it completed.
And that was one part of the problem with the prior consultant, was they did things sequentially. You can't do it that way, and it also adds to the cost.
Jeff, I just wanted.
more than doubles the cost.
Jeff, and I don't, just to be clear, I believe they're 300,000, but there was an additional $136,000, right?
Yes.
So to be clear, it's not.
Yeah, but that was a
Yes.
study underway already that we were gonna complete.
Okay.
They offered to work with them together.
Right, but, you
in
know,
unison.
just. in the-
Yeah,
it-
and I asked Bill to be here. I mean, Bill comes anyway, but Bill and I talked about this at length at the end of last week's meeting, and we talked a little bit more about it yesterday. whether or not to continue to use LK McLean Associates as the transportation and traffic consultant. My recommendation is to continue to use them. We had no complaints about them. Sometimes they, as traffic engineers, they tend to speak bluntly about sensitive community issues. We'll have to work on that. But their traffic knowledge is second to none. Don Thomas, I think, also speaks very highly of them. They've been helping me out with the last mile North Fork Transportation Task Force issues, with cycling issues with our downtown. And they've been doing that off the books. They're not charging us. So-
And I think both companies were perfectly happy to use them.
Right.
They knew their
Their expertise.
regards, yep.
Yep. The one thing, though, that there would be an additional cost to that, and Bill and I went over that cost last week, and we confirmed it. I don't want to speak on Bill's behalf, Bill's here. We would need approximately additional, just about $109,000 to be added. And I did put the money into, I recommended the money be set aside in the budget for 2023 to account for that.
But that was already encompassed
Yes, it was,
for the original plan. I mean, that's,
Yes.
they were gonna get paid this anyway.
so it's not an addition.
Right.
They're just gonna work in unison.
But there is an additional cost. One of the things that we need to finalize is the final request for payment from AKRF. And we need to have that discussion sooner than later, so we can finalize, nail down the budget going forward. And I
Okay.
sent everybody a memo on that a few weeks ago, so if you take a look at that, that would be helpful.
And I like from both of them that they weren't going to duplicate anything that was already done. I mean, we really need to be expeditious in getting this completed and done properly and well. It's already lingered for too long, and people are really anxious to get this.
Very much so.
Codified.
We've already had 10 community meetings so far.
Yeah.
I think more work needs to be done, a lot more work with the Central Advisory Committee. That would be the step one for me. Step two would also, be concurrently with that, would be the outreach to all the different advisory committees, the planning board, zoning board, TDR committee, the farmland committees. That work needs to be done immediately. We don't have to wait a few months, that work can be done immediately.
And PJF, are they available, I mean, do they have the time, like if we say, okay, we'd like to do that within 3 weeks, they do, okay.
We're going to set up specific milestones and dates, so,
Okay.
and, the one thing I'd like to do, is try to expedite the hiring of the consultant, because one, we have to have the resolution authorizing the, selection of whichever consultant town board chooses. Then there has to be a contract prepared, then the contract has to be signed, then there has to be money encumbered, then there has to be a purchase order. Whatever we can do to try to expedite that and consolidate, some of those different efforts, we'd like to get going as soon as possible.
All right, so can I take a poll on, from the board regarding which company they would designate as being the next,
What's the next town board
comprehensive
meeting?
update?
Is it the 18th? I'm just looking at
Yes.
the calendar. That's the next town
October
board
18th.
meeting? Okay.
I'm in favor of BFJ.
I'm in favor of BFJ. One other thing that we didn't mention that I was impressed with too was their TDR program and their knowledge of TDRs. Because as I mentioned earlier, that's very high up on my list of something that needs to be addressed sooner than later. So that, I was impressed with that. H2M did a great job. I think we would have been fine with either company. But I think the bottom line comes down to the price, and, with BFJ wanting to work and start their program and run secret and stuff from the beginning, to me, that made so much sense, that, that was kind of the game breaker for me. And I do favor using McLean. But one thing I would, Frank mentioned when the next board meeting is, I would suggest we ratify this.
I agree.
If
Yes,
we
we
all
should
agree that
ratify.
we could ratify it and start it, this way we don't have to wait another week or two,
You support?
because this thing's
That's why I
so
was
far
bringing it up. I
behind.
think we should try to get it done
Prepare a
before
memo
then.
and
yeah.
circulate it.
Yeah, absolutely, I would be
Okay.
willing to do that.
Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
I
well-
think,
My own personal feeling, so I might be on the outskirt here, but, I don't think that, I think that BFJ is relying a lot on the prior work that was done by AKRF, and I just think the community involvement and everything, I honestly think was a failure altogether. So I think that we never reached out to the western side of the town, and I think that a lot of that work is gonna have to be redone, to be fair. And We selected individuals throughout the town that they were never even asked or participated in that. And
That was a big point.
and so I think that H2M was more about almost starting from scratch and going back and concluding that work and being done in the proper way as opposed to BFJ, just relying on the work that was done, which I just don't think was adequate. And I don't think that either one of those companies, in fairness to each other, wanted to make those kind of statements. They're not here to bash the other, contender. But I just think I attended those forums, and I sat in the shade tree, and it was the same 20 individuals at every single one, no matter what portion of town we discussed or how people felt. It was the same individuals in the room, and I didn't get a consensus of how people felt in Wading River versus how people felt in Jamesport and in all the towns in between. And so I think that H2M was going to be much more detailed, and I almost feel like we do have to start from scratch. I understand that it's a lot more money, so in a fiscal way, it makes you want to go, oh, well, let's take the person that's going to charge us less. However, I don't want to sit through this for a whole year and say, okay, well, once again, we got, an inadequate, decision in the end, because we still based ourselves on the beginning process, which was no good to me. So I think H2M works in our town. They've done projects in our town. They work closely with the Water District and other activities that we've engaged with them and other plans. So I think that I'm more in favor of the company that knows our town, that works in our town, and I'd be more in tune to utilize them. I understand it costs more money, and I wish we could have a better financial standing of it. I think that they made at least comments, not to speak for them, that certain things could be adjusted as they went along, but I just want to do this the right way, right from the beginning. And yes, it may, in my opinion, it may cost more, but you get what you pay for in the end. That's my thoughts.
Well, I thought we were all in unison. I don't disagree with his comments. I was very impressed with H2M's presentation. I still favor BFJ. I love the way they're going to do the SECRA in the same timely fashion as they're going to do the rest of the comp plan. And I think timing, for me, is really the foremost issue. The money, I agree, you get what you pay for, but the money is an issue, but I think the timeliness is more important.
The one thing to address Ken's concern about the west half of the town is BFJ did prepare the Wading River Hamlet study. They are very familiar with Frank Fish and their company. I did speak with Sid Bale about that. He said they had a very good rapport with Frank and his team when they came out.
That was a long time ago, though.
10 years ago.
Not as long as the original part of the 2003
But
comp
I'm just
plan,
saying that
but-
development has changed in the last 10
Yeah,
years.
absolutely.
It's old data.
Your points were all valid, Ken. I agree with your points. I just, the Hamlet study that they did in Wading River impressed me, and I spoke to Sid Bale also about it. The work that they just completed with Southampton Village, they're more in tune to the East End. They have a better idea, having just completed that comp plan over there. So that, and like I said, the TDRs and the way they're going to proceed is really what swung me their way.
Yeah, and the points you brought up, New Rochelle, there was a woman sitting where you were sitting. Sarah, good connections to the state. I was very impressed. And I understand the price issue. They do have $6,000 for community outreach. And the comp plan committee, which is made up of representatives from all over the town, I'll add that, were not addressed. When the pattern book went out, okay, I'm going to digress a little bit, I believe this survey, 1,200 people weighed in on that out of over 30,000 people in the
36.
town. It was 30, okay, so, we expect that there's going to be a lot of people. I think the past company, and I agree with Ken, I went to some of those meetings. The biggest one was the farmers. It was the largest attend meeting, and they told the farmers how many acres of farmland there is. So, but New Rochelle, incredibly impressive for me, because I'm very familiar with what not that, I didn't even know they did that, but knowing they did that is
It's funny because you and I spoke about New Rochelle long before.
absolutely.
And then here they are falling in our laps. I thought that was.
New Rochelle really
very telling.
did it, so you were in the ground in 90 days, and and like when I look at projects that take 2, 3, 4 years here, something that needs to be corrected. So, at any rate, I'm in favor. And I absolutely understand H2M, and I think they did a really good job, but for me, knowing the areas, TDRs is a big one for me as well. So, thank you. Thank you for, the diligence on this.
And collectively, the company appears to have quite amount of experience. While monetary considerations is important, I know that there is a tremendous amount of studies here in Riverhead. We have paid a tremendous amount of money to the UDA. There's been a great amount of outreach to the community. As a result, we have the pattern book now, and all that can be incorporated. I don't think you're gonna start the pattern book again, or you're gonna start going back to DC1. I did attend those meetings, and yes, sometimes it was the same individuals. And I suspect it'll be the same individuals again. It's proven over and over again. And while I agree with some points that Ken had brought up, the TDRs is by far, and Jeff, when we started on the comprehensive plan and getting a committee, I told you it was #1 priority. And that's important. I like their demeanor. I see that they're gonna work cohesively. It appears that they're gonna work with the town, and they have to reach out to Dawn Thomas. There's so many studies that have been, recent studies and surveys, and a tremendous amount of Zoom calls with the entire community, including the DRI.
Yeah.
And that was a 6-month process. It was conducted by, what's the company, Eastman? Perkins? Yep. A great company, very well established, and all that information can be used.
Yeah, and the fact that they have worked together on other projects is very telling, and I think Don really was impressed by that.
That's important with what's going on in DRI, and also the BOA, extremely important. The only thing I would ask of McLean, and Yvette brought this to me a few months ago when she was doing this, the schooling with MIT, I'd like to know if they're using new technology which actually puts traffic studies up in the lights, right? And it downloads to an app, so you don't have to put rubber across the road, and these are extremely efficient. I would like to know that from
Okay.
them. Okay.
Yeah, it's developing smart cities.
Yeah.
So based on considering the monetary component, which was important, my decision is not based solely on monetary consideration. And H2M did a great job. I believe that they wanted to possibly commence a full study, and that's where the cost factor occurred. And so I am going to be supportive of this company,
Yeah.
BFJ. Yep.
All right, so I'll circulate the memo for ratification.
We'll
And then once I
ratify it.
get that, then I'll work with Eric on starting to draft our contract. Yes.
And I'm glad we're moving on, and it's going to save the taxpayers a considerable amount of money. And we're going to be monitoring, and I have, Tim, you're going to be on the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
And I know that Ken and
So-
Bob and all of you are not going to, are going to be probably daily phone calls to me. Where are we?
So,
So,
what I'd like
we're
to
up.
do is since Tim and I
Moving
are on
forward.
since Tim and I are on the committee, if we could just look at, how the structure of the contract in terms of the timeline,
The deliverables.
okay, the milestones, if we're gonna put that in there.
Yeah, before anything goes out to them,
Well, they both offer timelines in their perspective,
Right,
but
I did
tightening them
see-
up, I get it. Yep.
Yeah, I want, really, clear deadlines. I saw it, and, just wanna make
We're going to circulate the scope with you, all of you.
Yeah, because we might change the, you know what I'm talking about,
Yep.
the order in which things are done, that's all.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Understood.
And I just say, I highly respect the entire board's decision. It's my own business thoughts and my own process, but I completely respect and the decision of everybody else.
Likewise.
Likewise,
Likewise.
absolutely.
Yeah, so.
All right, Jeff, good job.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Sooner
Our
the
last
better.
discussion. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everyone. We have no resolutions on the agenda for today. nothing in executive session, so this is gonna conclude our discussion. Oh, you wanna make an
I
announcement?
would like to
Absolutely.
make an announcement. I know we have a very full boardroom here today, which is great, because we're gonna need a lot of help, the litter committee.
Bob, there could be millions on the TV.
I know, that's right, and
Don't know.
all you viewers out there, Karen will be signing autographs at the end. Very important, the litter committee is doing a phenomenal job.
Yes,
It's
they
the
are.
town advisory committee, I mean, I can't express what they do. And we, as citizens of Riverhead, really have to, you won't see garbage all over Southampton or East Hampton. And we need to have that same mindset here. They're going into the schools, talking to elementary school kids. Anyway, with that, Saturday, October 15th, at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there's going to be a fall cleanup, and we need volunteers. There's a number of organizations that are gonna come. We expect to get over 200 people. It'd be nice to get 300 people. Maureen's Haven has donated 2 vans that they will drive and pick up garbage. They'll be calling us. I will be driving a town pickup truck if anybody wants
Uh-oh.
to sit alongside of me and help me. It will be picking up garbage, that's picked up. So please, October 15th, 9 a.m. It's gonna be a beautiful day to pick up garbage.
And as usual, supplies will be
Oh, yes.
given out here.
Yes,
At
there'll be,
Town Hall?
yeah, you come, thank you, Frank. You
Yep.
come to Town Hall, there'll be vests, orange vests that will be given out. There'll be pickers, there'll be latex gloves. So you don't have to touch anything. You can just pick it up and stick it in the bag.
It's actually a fun day.
It's a great day.
It's a great day,
And
members
it-
of the community coming together, lots of laughs and picking up the garbage, and I think you ran out of locations last time.
Well, no, what's depressing is that this really needs to be done every day. And what the committee is looking to do, and I'll let the board know now, is to do what they do in Southampton, and Jefferson, you're probably aware of this, where businesses adopt a road.
Yes.
Okay,
And
yes.
so they were looking to model that, and I was gonna talk to you, Eric, about what that might look like in a resolution. And we'd get involved the chamber in the bid and, get some businesses involved, adopt a road, and they would be responsible for the cleanup. But we'll discuss that another time. October 15th, 9 a.m.,
Okay,
just be there. We'll give you all the supplies, thanks, Fred, for reminding me
Okay.
about that.
all right, can I have a first and a second to close this work session, please?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Everyone be safe, and tomorrow's Friday. Enjoy your weekend.
Alec, Tim, you got anything?